Hello cyclists, there is a new bike from Engwe and it's called MAPFOUR N1 Air. And the Air says it all because this frame is made from carbon fiber and therefore the bike is lightweight, but not super lightweight, because this bicycle weighs 15.6 kilograms, more or less, depending if you do have more accessories. Engwe is known for broad range of very cheap bicycles. It is an Asian manufacturer, which is absolutely okay. But if you have a closer look on the Engwe website, you know in what direction I'm going to head with my explanation. These bicycles have rather very cheap components. For example, the Shimano 7-gear system. It's Shimano, yes, but it's rather on the lower range. And this, if you have a closer look at all the parts and accessories, this is what Engwe offers. It offers very accessible, rather cheap bicycles. But how does this bike feel if you cycle it? And who could be the perfect fit for this bike? Let's find out. The bike is a classic city e-bike, I would say. The motor is located in the rear hub, so you're rather pushed, and it has 14 Newton meters of torque. It's a MAPFOUR motor that's very established. Most of the budget e-bikes do have a MAPFOUR motor. And the 14 Newton meters is a very classic, I would say, because it's powerful enough to bring you through the urban settings. And even if you do have some inclines, they're super easy to climb. I just was cycling up like don't ask me how many degrees, but like 2 inclines. And even in the first level of pedal assistance, it was just super easy to cycle. There are 5 levels of pedal assistance in total. And I must say, most of the time I was just using level 1 because I like 4 or 5 pushes into the pedal and I reach 25 kilometers that are allowed. So I don't know when you use level 3 to 5. Maybe if you do have some steeper inclines, or if you don't want to exercise at all, but in my opinion, level 1 and 2 are absolutely enough. What I like is that you can adjust the sitting position because you can change the position of the handlebars. Mine is like all the way to the front, so I'm leaning a bit forward and there is some weight on my wrist and I already can feel my neck, but that is of course very individual. I'm very sensitive, I must say. I prefer sitting very upright. The gearing system has 7 gears and it's from Shimano, and I must say they are absolutely okay if you don't want to cycle faster than 25 kilometers, because you can easily. But to be honest, I was missing gears. So when I'm in the gear number 7 and I want to cycle maybe 30 kilometers an hour, the cadence is very high. So my legs are like struggling a bit because it's becoming very hectic. What I absolutely don't like are the brakes. Because in my opinion, they don't work really well. They are not so efficient. And especially when you do cycle an e-bike, most of the time you would cycle between 20 and 25 kilometers in the city. And then it is super important and even dangerous if you don't have brakes that work really well. So that's something, if you're interested in the bike, that I would maybe go to a bike shop and ask if they could give me different disc brakes. Because really, it's just taking too long. The grip is not really like what I would expect, not very effective. What I really like is that the tires are a bit broader because they work a bit like a suspension. So when you cycle over cobblestone, it's not so uncomfortable because the frame is made from carbon fiber, and carbon fiber is like super stiff and you don't have any suspension at all. And because there is no suspension fork or on the seat post, it's quite nice that you do have this extra comfort. What I don't like so much, to be honest, is the cable situation in the front. There is internal cable routing, yes, indeed, but still, how they did manage all those different cables in the front. I know a lot of budget bike producers do that. It's okay, but as I see it, like every time I cycle, design-wise, there's room for improvement. This bike meets the regulations of the German law because it comes with reflectors in the spokes as well in the front light as well as in the rear light. And what I think is pretty cool, the rear light is a solar light, so it has a sensor and it turns on when it's getting darker, and it is solar powered. And it is sufficient for the German law as well as the light in the front. And of course, for all those living in Germany, there are reflectors in the pedals. And the pedals are a bit broader and they do have extra little knobs, so the grip is really cool. Of course, every e-bike has a battery and this battery can be taken out. So it gives you all the flexibility, which is pretty cool. The down point is it takes between 5 to 8 hours to fully charge the battery. That is pretty long, to be honest. The bike comes with fenders made from metal, and up to now they do not rattle. I was cycling over really bad cobblestone, but up to now no noises. I just go into the second level of pedal assistance and no problem. Well, Engwe is a brand that offered over the last couple of years very cheap, every now and then very bulky, and in my opinion not the highest quality concerning e-bikes. But if you maybe want to test an e-bike, if your expectations are not so high, then Engwe could be an interesting choice for you. But if you do need some service, you can only contact Engwe online or through the app. But like what I read and from my experience, you're rather left alone. So maybe it is an investment for a year, maybe for 2, if you buy an Engwe e-bike. So the riding experience was absolutely okay with the torque sensor, and I did really like that you do have those 7 gears. What I absolutely didn't like, as I said, is that the brakes do not work properly. But this bicycle could be interesting for someone who commutes because there are accessories. So you can add a rear rack, for example, and even a basket in the front. But I mean, the price is 1,399 euros at the moment. I would suggest always check the website of Engwe and see how the price is developing, because every now and then they do have interesting promotions. I think it's still quite a lot of money, 1,400 euros, if you know that it's a bike with components, yes, that work really well, but I don't know if you're like a really serious cyclist that cycle every single day, no matter how the weather is. I'm not sure if like the price and what you get, probably because of the carbon fiber frame, because that's quite expensive. But even though it's a carbon fiber frame and it weighs 15.6 kilograms, there are other bikes with the same features that weigh less. But I think one of the reasons why the bike is quite interesting, because there are some lightweight bikes that don't offer this feature that you can take out the battery. And I mean, that is pretty cool, because then you're like super flexible concerning the charging. The charging takes between 5 to 8 hours, which is indeed quite a lot, but you're flexible. And it's also because of the price. I know that some bikes that are a bit pricier, then you charge your bike in approximately 3 hours. The MAPFOUR motor is reliable. So far I've read some comments on MAPFOUR, and up to now everyone was happy and satisfied. If you do have problems with your bicycle, you have to go to the Engwe app or check the website and contact the support. The feature that I really like is, of course, that it has a solar light in the back. That's actually quite cool. Engwe offers 2 different models. This one with an almost horizontal tube, upper tube, and there is a step-through frame. So if you feel more comfortable with a step-through frame, there's absolutely an option. Check it out on the website. So overall, one thing that I don't like is that the fenders, I mean, they do have fenders metal fenders that are pretty stiff and they don't rattle, but as you can see, they're pretty short. So actually it wasn't raining or it wasn't pouring, so I couldn't test if I get dirty, but from my experience, I would say it would have been quite cool if the fenders would be a bit longer in the front as well as in the back. So an interesting e-bike. Really ask yourself what you're looking for and check if this could be a fit for you.